Hello everyone, welcome back to my learning channel. This is one of tutorials where you can level up your math skills with me, Miss B. So hello, nagbabalik na naman ang inyong resident math teacher na tutulungan kayo para mas maintindihan nyo ang inyong lessons sa math. Okay, so napapansin nyo, hindi ako yung nandyan sa picture, no? It's my baby, that's my panganay. Her name is Sasha Babe. So, naisip ko, baka magsawa kayo sa mukha ko. So, yung pictures na ng cats ko ilalagay ko. Okay? So, if you like this video and if you have any specific requests, ilagay niyo lang po yan sa comment section down below. And, please don't forget to like and subscribe para naman masaya si Miss V. At habang nakasubscribe kayo, i-click nyo na rin yung bell button para lagi kayong number 1 na viewer ng aking mga videos. Okay po? Alright, so, ano ang ating lesson for today? Ang ating lesson ay applying the distance formula. So, this is still in general geometry, pero medyo magsa-steer away muna tayo saglit sa circles. Okay? So, dito malalaman natin kung paano i-apply yung distance formula na inaral nyo before in proving certain geometric properties of triangles and quadrilaterals. Ang lesson po na ito ay pang grade 10 math, ganun ba rin po, at nasa week 7 na po tayo ng second quarter. Okay, so magsimula na tayo by learning our objective and our most essential learning competency of the day. So we have applied the distance formula in proving some geometric properties. So ito po ang gagawin natin. We will use the distance formula in proving certain geometric properties. Starting with triangles and quadrilaterals. Okay? So, syempre, kailangan malaman muna natin kung ano ang distance formula. Ano nga ba ang distance formula? Ito po yun. Okay? So, paano siyang nakuha? Na-derive lang po yan actually from the Pythagorean theorem, pero nilagyan ng coordinates. Okay? So, yan lang po. Ang distance formula ay ginagamit natin to find out the distance between 2 points in our Cartesian coordinate plane. So, yan lamang po yan. It is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now, you may ask, ma'am, paano kung pagbaliktarin namin? Paano kung unahin namin yung x1 at saka yung y1? Okay lang yan, mga anak. Actually, you will get the same answer. So, kahit pagbaliktarin nyo siya, as long as you are consistent. So, ibig sabihin nun, kapag inuna nyo yung x2, dapat y2 din yung unahin nyo dun sa kabila. Hindi pwedeng x1 yung isa, tapos y2 naman yung sisimulan nyo dun sa kabila. Okay? Hindi po pwedeng ganun. Hindi consistent ang tawag doon. So, you have to be consistent. Okay po? Okay, so let's start off with a specific example. So, meron po tayo ditong given P is negative 2, 5 and Q is at 8, 5. What is the distance between the 2 points? So, this one is very straightforward. Aaralin lang po natin kung paano natin gagamitin si distance formula. Okay? So, all we have to do is to use our formula. So, first, syempre, labelan muna natin. Alin ba yung gagawin kong x1, y1, tapos yung x2, tsaka y2. So, si P, siya yung gagawin kong x1, y1. Tapos si Q, siya yung x2, y2. So, actually, papatunayan ko sa inyo ngayon na they would actually end up with the same answer kung kahit pagbaliktarin ko sila. So, ibig sabihin, uunahin ko yung x1, y1 dun sa isa, tapos uunahin ko yung x2, y2 dun sa kabila. Okay? So, for the first one, I'll be using green. Pinakita ko, no? Parang nakikita niyo yung kulay ng pen. Sorry. Miss B is weird. Okay. So, I will use the formula straight out. Yung nakalagay dun sa formula talaga natin na x2 muna minus x1. Okay? Yun yung green color. So, the distance is gonna be PQ is going to be square root of 8 minus negative 2 squared and then plus y2, y1. So, that's 5 minus 5 squared. Okay? And then, we're gonna calculate this. Ang makukuha po natin ay 10 squared plus 0 squared. If we simplify that, we will just end up with 10. Okay? So, ito yun, yung formula talaga mismo. So, I will use orange to show you that kahit pagbaliktarin nyo siya, uunahin ko yung x1 at saka y1, you will still end up with the same answer. So, PQ is equal to negative 2 minus, ay ano ba yan? Baka 28? Miss B, negative 2 minus 8 squared. And then, excuse me po, 5 minus 5 squared. So, you're still gonna end up with a negative 10 squared plus 0 squared. So, ang negative 10 squared po, positive 10 pa rin yan. And then, you will still end up with 10 units for your distance. Okay, so as you can see, pareho lang po tayo ng value na nakuha. Ibig po niyang sabihin, pwedeng mauna si x1 at saka y1 as long as you are consistent. Ibig sabihin, unahin mo si x1, unahin mo rin si y1. Okay? So, I hope you got that one. Let's move on. O ito, gagamitan na natin ang geometry. Prove that the diagonals of a rectangle are congruent. Kasi isa po yan sa mga properties ng ating rectangle. So, if you will recall, yung lesson nyo ng geometry last year, I'm not sure if that's last year, but hopefully, you learned it last year. Ang properties po ng isang rectangle ay you have two pairs of congruent sides, and then, yung opposite sides mo dapat congruent sila, di ba? And aside from that, your diagonals must be congruent. So, if those two conditions are satisfied, then you do have a rectangle. So, dito, papatunayan lang natin na yung diagonals niya ay congruent. So, guess what? Kung anong gagamitin natin, syempre, gagamit tayo ng distance formula. Okay? So, I have here rectangle DOV or D-O-V-E. So, ano ang unang-unang step natin? Syempre, ang unang step natin na ilalagay natin siya sa Cartesian coordinate plane. Na, syempre, question, ma'am, saan namin lalagay ang laki-laki ng Cartesian coordinate plane? So, syempre, para madalian ang buhay nyo, ilagay nyo yung isang vertex sa origin or sa 0, 0. So, as you can see, yung ating quadrilateral DOVE, nilagay ko siya malapit dun sa origin. As you can see, si vertex E, andun siya mismo sa origin. So, let's try to give the coordinates for this particular quadrilateral. So, yung E, nasa origin siya, so that's 0, 0. Now, you have a blank Cartesian coordinate plane. Ibig ba niya sabihin, you can assign any value to V? Hindi po mga anak, okay? You cannot assume. Remember, it's the first cardinal rule in geometry to never assume anything. So, you're not supposed to assume the value of V. So, sabihin niyo, ma'am, paano natin masusolve? Wala tayong values. Mga anak, pwede tayong gumamit ng variable. Okay? So, that's what variables are for. If unknown yung value, di ba? So, magamit tayo ng variable. Okay? So, at this point, si point V. Kaya point V muna tayo. May value yung x niya, di ba? Pero yung kanyang y coordinate, that's just 0. Tama ba? Kasi nasa x-axis siya. So, we can assign a random variable A. Tapos, hindi pala dapat B. 0. So, this V is at A0. Which is tama naman. Diba? X lang yung may value sa kanya kasi nasa x-axis siya. Now, punta naman tayo kay D. Now, si D, meron siyang ilang units sa taas ng origin. Okay? Pero yung x-coordinate niya ay 0 kasi nandun siya mismo sa y-axis. So, we're gonna give the y-coordinate a random variable B. Okay? Now, pagdating kay O, ano na yung magiging coordinates niya? Ang magiging coordinates po niya ay A, B. So, paano natin nalaman na A, B? Kasi po, katapat niya si V. Diba? At kapag magkatapat sila, ano ibig sabihin yan? Vertically. Kapag vertically magkatapat sila, ibig sabihin, they have the same x-coordinate. So, A. Tapos, si D at saka si O, magkatapat po sila horizontally. At anong nangyayari sa mga points na magkakatapat horizontally? They have the same y value. So, ang coordinates po ni point O ay A, B. Okay? So, ngayon, meron na tayong mga coordinates. Pwede na tayong mag-distance formula. Okay? So, meron na po tayo niyan. Paano natin gagawin? Ang tinatanong kanina ay yung diagonals. So, may dalawang diagonal lang naman tayo. Meron tayong DV at saka EO. So, yun yung isosolve natin. Okay? So, I'm gonna start with OE or EO. Okay? So, ipa-plot natin or gagamitin natin ang kanyang coordinates in our distance formula. So, that's gonna be A minus 0 squared plus B minus 0 squared. So, ito lang po yan. Kaya siya A minus 0, B minus 0. Okay? So, OE is gonna be square root of A squared plus B squared. So, kailangan pa bang i-simplify? Hindi na, yan na yun. Okay? So, you can stop there. Kasi remember, hinahanap lang naman natin is they have the same value. So, you can just stop here. Now, the goal is, kailangan si DV, same lang din yung amount niya. Kailangan exactly the same sila. So, let's look. I will use orange for DV. So, kay DV naman, square root of, ito po yung mga coordinates niya. So, as you can see, 0, A, tapos B, 0. So, yun yung gagawin natin. So, 0 minus A squared plus B minus 0 squared. Okay? And then, DV is gonna be negative A squared plus B squared. So, ang negative A squared, remember, any negative number, if you square it, or kung even ng iyong exponent, magiging positive pa rin siya. So, I will still end up with A squared plus B squared. Pareho ba sila ng value? Yes. So, our conclusion now is, therefore, OE is congruent to DV. And we have proven na sa isang rectangle, congruent ang kanilang diagonals. Diba? So, ito, gagamitin nyo rin to kapag halimbawa, nagpo-prove kayo na ang isang rectangle ay or ang isang quadrilateral ay isang rectangle. Paano? Halimbawa, nagtanong, merong question. Meron daw 4 points that represent a quadrilateral sa ating Cartesian coordinate plane. Now, you have to prove that that quadrilateral is indeed a rectangle. So, ano yung gagawin nyo? Siyempre, unang-una, you have to check the sides. So, kailangan yung opposite sides nyo ay congruent. So, after that, i-check nyo ngayon yung diagonals. If the diagonals are congruent, then you can safely say that that quadrilateral is indeed a rectangle. Okay po? So, sana na-gets nyo yun. Kung hindi man, i-pause nyo, ibalik nyo ulit para mas maintindihan nyo siya. Okay? Kaya nyo yan. I believe in you guys. So, that's our first example. Very straightforward lang. So, ito. Meron naman tayong second example. What kind of triangle is a triangle TOY if T is at 1, 4, O is at negative 3, 3, and Y is at 3, 1. So, as you can see, pinlot ko na siya sa ating maliit na Cartesian coordinate plane and pwede na natin siya pagduktong-duktongin. So, kapag ginawa niyo yun, ano yung magiging itsura ng triangle natin? Okay, assuming na, hindi talaga ako straight mag-drawing. Ano ba? Galingan mo naman, Miss B. Ayan. Okay, so at first glance, pwede nyong makita na, uy, mukhang isosceles. So again, bawal na namang mag-assume, ha? Talagang, bawal mag-assume, okay? Do not assume. So, kahit tingnan nyo siyang ganyan at isipin nyo na, uy, mukha siya isosceles, therefore, isosceles triangle siya. Hindi. Okay? You have to back it up with values. So, that means, kailangan i-check natin yung lengths ng bawat sides ng ating triangle. Excuse me. To check what type of triangle it is. Okay? So, babalikan ko lang po, if we're going to base it sa congruence or sa length ng sides, meron tayong tatlong klase ng triangle. Ano-ano yun? Pupunta lang tayo dun sa slide na yun, ha? This is supposed to be sa last slide, pero pwede naman natin pag-usapan na ngayon. So, here. If ang pagbabasihan natin ay yung length ng sides, may tatlong klase lang po tayo ng triangle. we have a scalene, isosceles, and equilateral. Ang equilateral triangle po has all of its sides congruent. So, ibig sabihin, isosolve nyo yung distance formula niyan. Pag-iisang value lang yung nakuha nyo on all three sides. Therefore, the triangle is equilateral. Now, for isosceles, kailangan may pair ka lang ng congruent sides. Okay? So, if you have a pair of congruent sides, therefore, your triangle is automatically isosceles. Now, kung yung tatlong sides na yan, walang magkakapareho ng length, then it is a scalene triangle. Okay po ba? So, magagamit nyo yung information na yan in this type of problem. Okay? So, balik tayo ulit. Pak. Okay. So, given t, o, and y, kailangan hanapin natin ang distance ng bawat isang sa mga points na yan. So, tatlong distances ang hinahanap natin, ha? Magsisimula po tayo sa ty. So, I will use green for ty. Ano ngayon ang ating values nito? So, for t, x values muna, meron tayong 1 minus 3 squared plus, and then yung ating y values, we have 4 minus 1 squared. Okay? And then, if we solve this, we will get an approximate value of 4 plus 9. That gives us square root of, not square root of 11, square root of 13. Okay? So, this is your first value, square root of 13. Next, hanapin naman natin yung other side. Sabihin natin yung o at saka y naman. Okay? So, if we're going to look for OY, ano-ano ang kanyang x values? Isang negative 3 at saka 3. So, negative 3 minus 3 squared plus, and then yung kanilang mga y values, we have 3 and 1. So, that's 3 minus 1 squared. OY will now be equal to negative 3 minus 3, that's 6. Negative 6 squared, that's 36. Plus 3 minus 1, that's 2. 2 squared is 4. We get square root of 40. So, ito pa lang, nagmumukha ng, ano kaya to? Pero may isa pa kasing side. So, huwag pa tayong mawala ng pag-asa. Kailangan isolve natin yung isa pang side. Okay? At ang natitirang side ay COT. So, let's solve OT. Gagamitin ko po ang red. So, COT, ang kanilang mga x values ay negative 3 at saka 1. So, square root of negative 3 minus 1 squared plus ang ating mga y values ay 3 at saka 4. So, 3 minus 4 squared. And then, let's solve. So, this is gonna be negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16 plus 1 squared, that's just 1. So, you will get an answer of square root of 17. So, balikan natin yung mga values natin. Meron tayong square root of 13, square root of 40, at saka square root of 17. So, as you can see, magkakaiba po ang kanilang values. So, anong klaseng triangle yung nabuo natin? Therefore, the triangle is scalene. So, yan na po ang ating conclusion. O, diba? Nagawa na natin. So, remember, if ang pagbabasihan natin ay length of sides, kung wala tayong side na magkakamuka, so, scalene triangle po siya. Okay? Ayos. So, we are now down to our last example. Ang last example natin, ito, medyo solving pa ng konti. Find the perimeter of a triangle whose vertices are the following. So, in this one, we have H is at 6,3, A is at 5,7, and T is at 0,1. So, hindi na natin siya kailangang i-plot kasi alam naman na natin yung distance formula. Okay? So, kailangan na lang natin i-solve yung distance ng bawat isang side or yung length ng bawat isang side. Tapos, ipag-add-add lang natin siya for the perimeter. Now, in this case, hindi na natin siya isusulat as an irrational number. So, kailangan i-convert natin siya into decimal para makuha natin yung approximate value ng ating perimeter. Okay? So, magsimula na po tayo. Let's start with HA. So, HA, kuhanin natin yung distance. That's 6 minus 5. And then, 3 minus 7. Okay? That will give you square root of 1 plus 16. So, square root of 17. Ang approximate value ng square root of 17 ay... Siyempre, nag-move out of camera ako, no? Kasi... 4.12. 2 decimal places po, mga anak. Okay? Next, let's go 80. So, si 80 naman ay gagawin natin square root of 5 minus 0 squared plus 7 minus 1 squared. Okay? Tapos, square root of, this is gonna be 25 plus 36. Ano po yan? 6, tama, square root. So, 25 plus 36 is 61. Square root of 61 ay 7.81. Okay? And then, let's proceed to the last one. Meron tayong HA, 80. So, HT naman. Okay? So, ang HT natin, 6, 3. Tapos, T is 0, 1. So, let's find the distance. HT is equal to square root of 6 minus 0 squared plus 3 minus 1 squared. So, this is just gonna be 36 plus 4, which is square root of 40. Sorry. And that will be equal to 6.32. Sorry, not equal. Approximate value. Okay? Now, how to find the perimeter? Pag-a-add-add lang po natin yung mga yan. So, meron tayong 6.32 plus 4.12 plus 7.81. At ang makukuha natin ay 81 plus 4.12 18.25. Okay? So, yan po ang ating perimeter. Wala naman tayong binigay na unit, so, yan na lang po yung lalagay nyo. 18.25. Okay? So, yan lamang po yung sa calculation part. Itong last part na to, yung i-discuss ko lang katulad ng diniscuss ko kanina, kung ano yung mga ideas or what do you have to do to prove certain geometric properties. So, nabanggit ko na kanina yung first three. Ito po yung types of triangles according to length of the sides. So, again, kung congruent lahat ng sides, equilateral yan. Kung may kung may one pair ka of congruent sides, then you have isosceles triangle. Kung wala at all na magkamukha, then it is a scalene triangle. Na paano naman kung right triangle? Mapapatunayan nyo siya if it satisfies your Pythagorean theorem. Ibig sabihin, it should satisfy yung ating a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay? Now, for quadrilaterals, ito naman po ang kailangan. Now, for a square, paano nyo mapapatunayan ng isang quadrilateral ay square? Dalawang conditions po. First condition, all sides must be congruent. Second condition, you have congruent diagonals. Okay? And then, for the rectangle, two conditions po ulit, mga anak. You have two pairs of congruent sides. Yung magka-opposite, kailangan congruent sila. And then, it has congruent diagonals. So, dalawang condition ang kailangan niya masatisfy. Pag isa lang, hindi mo siya matatawag na rectangle agad. Kailangan both conditions. Okay? And then, of course, your last one is your rhombus. Your rhombus has 4 equal sides and then perpendicular diagonals. So, paano nyo isipin nyo, ma'am, paano yun? Paano namin mapuprove na perpendicular yung diagonals? I'll give you a technique. Diba ganito yung tsura ng rhombus? Tapos, diagonals niya, perpendicular. Kapag perpendicular, ibig sabihin it makes right angles with each other. Tama? At ano ba itong itsura na ito? Ba triangle yan? So, ibig sabihin, right triangle yan. At kung yan ay right triangle, ano naman ang kailangan natin for that? Pythagorean theorem. So, gamitan nyo lang ng Pythagorean theorem yan, mga anak. Okay? Kasi kung isang triangle ay right, lahat na yan right na. Okay? So, I hope marami kayong natutunan today. Medyo it didn't take that much of a time for me, I think, yung ating discussion. Pero if you have any questions, if you want to clarify anything, pakilagay lang po yan sa comment box below or sa comment section. And if you have topics na gusto nyo i-discuss ko, ilagay nyo lang din yan sa ating comment section down below. Okay? Maraming salamat sa pakikinig at pagpapanood. I will see you guys next time. Paalam!